a quick review in regards to taking a look at the taxonomic groupings of Order Primates. In this case, we're going to take a look at the differences between the labeling for suborders. So you're going to want your hominin review sheet of Order Primates, then it drops down to 2 large divisions of suborders. Okay, here we go. Traditionally, in the taxonomic group, and remember for our course, learning about our place in nature is one of the key transfer requirements. So we already looked at the taxonomic chart in general in Unit 1. We're going to look at it more in this unit and a little bit more in the 4th unit as well. So taxa, taxon, prosimiae, remember, as you're looking at your chart, go down to suborder, look across. In many traditional charts, the labeling was prosimiae in Latin or prosimian when we're speaking in English. And then the opposite of it will be anthropoidea in Latin or anthropoids. Those will be the 2 subdivisions. But we're going to learn about taking a look also at another way of dividing the living primates on the planet today, about 250 species, into either the group called Strepsirhine, or in English, Strepsirhines, and the Haplorhine, or in English, Haplorhines. And here you can see, drop down at suborder, Strepsirhine is often used, or like on your chart, accompanied with the more traditional organizational term prosimian, and then opposite, anthropoids and the Haplorhines. Strepsirhine and Haplorhine are terms that have to do with anatomy, and in Unit 3, you're beginning our journey in this class of looking at more anatomy terms. And so in this unit, we're learning bone names and some taxonomic anatomy references. So rhini and rhini in particular here. Really the only difference in terms of the assignment of species is if at the suborder level, the label, the taxon says prosimian or prosimiae, then the species known as tarsiers are placed under prosimians. If it says Strepsirhine, then tarsiers move out of this group and into the Haplorhine. How is it that the 2 organizational processes here will move a species back and forth? That's because tarsiers have some phenotypes that keep them with the much earlier to evolve, and that's what the prefix pro means, early ancestral primate group, the prosimians, because they're nocturnal, and there are a number of other features as well. But if we're looking at another anatomy distinction, tarsiers move over with the group that have some phenotypes that have evolved more recently. In other words, are derived. Things that evolve early are ancestral. Things that have evolved more recently are called derived. So let's move on and see what is really being referenced in Strepsirhine versus Haplorhine. Okay, rhine. While looking at evolution and life science classes, you get a lot of terminology where there's a root term for anatomy. And in this case, rhine refers to your nose, like a rhinoplasty in modern life. So in this case, the description of the term is going to refer to the nose, what we can see in the nose. Up here to the right, you are looking at a close-up of a dog's nose. Notice that the skin is leathery, that there's a V-shaped groove down through the center of the nose and goes through the upper lip, and that the nostril is not closed all the way around like yours is. It's a flap. that curls down and around. It doesn't stay out to the side. Sometimes they can move it a little bit, but then it comes back down. So let's look at the older to evolve group, the Strepsirhine. And again, except for tarsiers, every species within prosimians, and this means early simians, right? Early primates, also have a type of nose anatomy that's called Strepsirhine. Strepsirhine. Okay, so what does that mean when we take the words apart and define it? It is the wet or curly-nosed species, and that type of nose that's got lots of clear nasal fluid is leathery, not the same kind of skin as you have elsewhere on the body, but its own leathery skin, and the flap type nostril, that's called a rhinarium. Rhinarium. The area below, that goes right below that, down into what you would call your upper lip, is also split. It's V-shaped. Very common in nature. It is a very ancient or ancestral characteristic, sometimes called primitive. And all primitive means is it evolved a long time ago. All right, so the Strepsirhines or prosimians have this much more ancient form of nose, but still the forward-facing eyes, and a number of the other, and grasping hand with 5 fingers for the rest of the primates. Now the opposite group, oh, and the term strepsi, curved, so wet or curly nose. Now the opposite group, the Haplorhine or Anthropoidea. So anthro obviously is going to be a reference to the group that we would be in. So what's different about the nose in a Haplorhine or an Anthropoidea? More recently evolved. In this case, and here's a little quick question, which primate is both prosimian and haplo? And that is tarsiers. They make a big deal about tarsiers in your reading. So what does Haplorhine mean, or the Haplorhine? Dry-nosed primates. The skin of the nose then is like the skin anywhere else on the body. The nostrils are closed on the side, so the flap is not open. It's not like a wing, it's a hole. Now that hole can be round or elongated, sort of a nice lens type, but it's going to be closed. They might not have as much cartilage as the tip as we do, but many of them do have some, and you can see it as well. And then this term here for your upper lip is your philtrum, Now, if the philtrum is split, like a dog or a cat, or like lemurs, for instance, then we call that a split philtrum. Yours is grooved. You have a grooved philtrum, and it's going to look this way. That is a more recent genetic combination for us. All right, so that's the first step. Now, look down one more level below, because we were at suborder, Strepsi versus Haplo. Now look at Haplo and drop down one more on your chart, and we notice that there are 2 variants of Haplorhine. So let's look at that part. Haplorhine, simple-nosed. Okay, our 2 variants. Now right below it, you'll see Platyrhine, or the Platyrhine, and go across and you'll see Catarrhine, or the Catarrhine. So both of them are going to have skin and a closed nostril and a grooved philtrum. So this is one lower. But how do they divide into these other 2 groups? Now in our unit, we're not going to require that you learn the names of a whole lot of species. Yes on tarsiers, yes on chimps, bonobos, orangutans, and the Hylobatidae, but otherwise just generic group like lemurs, for instance, or arboreal monkeys. That's all you will need for this. Okay, so let's start with Platyrhine. The Platyrhine nose is going to be wider through the septum. That's where the cartilage is. So what that does is push the nostrils further out side to side, as we can see on this little tiny tamarin monkey. Tamarins, along with marmosets, are the world's smallest monkey species, and they all come from the Americas only. So a Platyrhine nose is going to be real wide and sort of flat to the side. If you see an image of them looking in 3/4, you'll see that you only see one nostril. In this case, you can see it's closed and the same kind of skin as elsewhere. So platy is an anatomy term that means relatively flattened, and that flatness is going to be across. When you're looking at these, you all, or an image that might show up in an assessment or some other sort of diagram, the nostrils are going to sort of open out to the side this way. Could look like they're really wide, but if it looks kind of like a little V coming out like this way, like not your nose, not your nose, not like yours, then you're looking at Platyrhine. The Catarrhine nose is yours, however. A Catarrhine nose, Catarrhine means down, cata, like catatonic, when someone's powered down, they're conscious, but they're not moving or responding to stimulus. So cata, down. In that case, they're going to be narrow, and the nostrils are going to come like this. Take your thumbs and say, mine, this is what I look like. Parallel, Catarrhine, I'm Catarrhine. Now you're done, it's all good. So they're going to be downward projecting nostrils with a very narrow septum. So that's Catarrhine. Again, general anatomy is our biggest goal here, and then understanding how we work through making these subdivisions of species in nature. So if you look at your face in the mirror, you're going to see a typical Catarrhine nose. One more thing about this, Platyrhine nose, Platyrhine in your taxonomic chart. All species with a Platyrhine nose are American monkeys. The Americas have only monkeys, no other type of primate, no apes, no prosimians, and it's not where humans evolved originally either. So Platyrhini are from the Americas, and that will be Central and South America only. There are no native primate species to North America. For the Catarrhini, that's the OW, Old World, Africa, Asia, right now. There are no living native species in Europe or up towards the Arctic because they are not Arctic type species. Okay, let's try a couple of little practices and call it a lesson. All right, self-quiz then. You'll see questions that might ask you, are you looking at a Strepsirhine, a Platyrhine, or a Catarrhine? So take a look for a moment here. We have this close-up of this little young one. Okay, we see firstly, when you're looking through these, strepsi. Remember, strepsi meant that there was a split philtrum, right? Like this type of upper lip, like you would see in a cat, a dog, a camel. Yes. Okay, so is it split? No. So this one, check it off. It can't be Strepsirhine. So now you have, down to the next one down, in for order, Platyrhine versus Catarrhine. Take a look at the nostrils. Is it a little bit wide? Do they seem to open out slightly this way? The answer is yes. This way, not you. Therefore, Platyrhine. All right, that's a Platyrhine face. Grooved philtrum, slightly wider nostrils. Let's try another one. This one easier. Isn't that a gorgeous photo from a wildlife photographer who's working, doing some formal portraits? Now in this particular, again, a monkey, the majority, not all, the majority of primate species alive today are monkeys, and the majority of those monkeys live in trees. They are arboreal quadrupeds, branch runners and walkers. So here we see how narrow it is, and also like an upper lip, right? Not like the V-lip, right? You might see in a bunny. So this one is Catarrhine. It's like this, it's like yours. The nostrils are close together and opening down. Okay, one more. All right, this is one of my little household companions. It's not a primate, right? You recognize that this is a cat, but concept here, the Strepsirhine nose, like you saw when we started, with a rhinarium, leathery, wet, split philtrum, flap-type wings. Yep, it's very ancient. It's going to be found more in the tree trunk of mammal species. So this is my one of my cats. This is what I see frequently when I wake up in the morning and he's ready to eat, play, or something. Yep, he is Strepsirhine. Okay, you won't see pictures of cats for assessment, but just as an example. Next one. This one. Okay, this species, there is a little bit of video in Unit 3 in there in regards to showing the video of them moving around. But take a look here, see how wide and an upper lip, right? Not a split philtrum, just a grooved one like ours, but the nostrils way out to the side. So this is a Platyrhine. All Platyrhines are monkeys, and all Platyrhines come from the Americas. So you're looking at an American species of monkey. All right, there we go with that lesson. What is a rhinarium versus what are Platyrhine, Catarrhine versus, right in suborder, Haplorhine versus Strepsirhine. All right, best to you.